On the 22nd of September 2014, 9 track workers were involved in a terrifying near miss with a train travelling at nearly 100 miles an hour, whilst repairing a track fault between Canforth and Lancaster. Join us as we investigate the incident in full and try to understand how a series of small mistakes resulted in one of the worst near-miss incidents in Network Rail's history. During a quick track inspection on the 9th of September by a measurement train, Network Rail identified a track fault at a location near Lancaster, which was to be repaired on the 22nd of September. The working party of 9 consisted of 8 contractors and 1 Network Rail controller of site safety employee. Despite the more safer protection systems such as ATWS, which means Automatic Track Warning Systems, and TOWS, which stands for Train Operated Warning Systems, the party decided to use the least safe option, known as the Lookout Operated Warning System, or LOWS for short. This allowed more time to work on the repairs compared to having line blocks between passing trains. The controller of site safety also had experience using line blockages and found the periods between line blockages harder to complete the tasks. Even though it's over 10 years ago, can anyone suggest in the comments why the least safe option is always picked? The LOWS system involves 2 different devices, a transmitter that is carried by the lookout and the receiver which is carried by the controller of site safety near to the working party. When the lookout sees a train, he uses his device to transmit an audible warning alarm to the receiver, which then informs the controller of site safety that they have 25 seconds to get to a position of safety as a train is approaching. At 12:20 PM, the controller of site safety set up the working group just south of the A5105 bridge, and 2 lookouts are shown. Lookout 1 was situated roughly 10 metres from the Hest Bank level crossing, watching for trains coming from the north, and Lookout 2 was situated near Morecambe South Junction, watching for trains coming on the adjacent line from the south. At 12:28 PM, LOWS was switched on and tested. Therefore, the repair work began. At 13:40 PM, after nearly 70 minutes of LOWS operating, the receiver with the controller of site safety began to display a low battery warning sign. Therefore, it was decided to move the working party to an area of safety and send for a new battery. Mistakenly, only Lookout 2 was informed of this and was stood down, resulting in Lookout 1 still monitoring the uptrack for oncoming trains. Lookout 1 had now been actively looking for trains for 1 hour and 55 minutes without a break. At 14:12 PM, the new battery was sourced and the group began to once again get to work. At 14:20 PM, 8 minutes later, train 1 Mike 97 number 350402, a 4-car class 354 electrical multiple unit travelling the 12:12 PM Edinburgh Waverley to Manchester Airport service, was travelling south at 101 miles per hour. Its front and back CCTV cameras pick up Lookout 1 approximately 10 metres from the crossing as shown. You can see that the lookout is standing in the correct position, carrying the LOWS transmitter unit and holding his hat to stop it becoming blown off by the train. The train driver later stated that he blew his horn, which was acknowledged by Lookout 1. After seeing the train, Lookout 1 stated that he pressed the LOWS warning system, which should have warned the working party. 14 seconds later, train 1 Mike 97 approached the A5105 road bridge and seen a sight no train driver would ever want to see. 9 workers still working on the track ahead in the forefoot. The driver immediately sounded his horn and slammed on his brakes. Inexplicably, the receiver had given no warning. The controller of site safety, with only 3 seconds before impact, seen the train and shouted as loud as he could for the group to run, leaving tools such as jacks and shovels that were crushed by the train. You can see from the photo that the last worker left the track just a half a second before impact. The location of the repair site was next to a small underbridge, which provided no immediate positions of safety for the workers. You can see a couple of the workers had to jump onto and over the bridge, desperately trying to escape the train. The group were extremely shooken up by the event, and as a result, the controller of the site safety cancelled the job, left the site with the team, and immediately contacted Network Rail's fault control room. The train driver reported the incident at the next stop, and straight away the RAIB were informed. After seeing the CCTV images, it became apparent that this was one of the greatest near misses in Network Rail's history. The RAIB wanted to first check the transmitter and download its daily log to see if it was functioning correctly. The device had been regularly serviced, and on that fateful day its alarm had been pressed 6 times in correspondence with the exact times of 6 south-heading trains passing the lookout. With no error messages, the RAIB concluded that it had been working correctly all day. Therefore, with the group not receiving a warning sound, something else was the cause. The RAIB then examined Lookout 1. Despite being a very experienced Lowe's user, due to him being left mistakenly for a prolonged period of time without break, could a factor called vigilance degradation be the issue? When interviewing the lookout, he was certain that he had pressed the warning activation switches. When examining the receiver, it was discovered that the lookout had to press what's known as the vigilance switch, as shown. This tells the device that the operator is still alert, and if not pressed, the alarm would automatically sound. The RAIB speculated that due to doing this for a very long period of time, that he accidentally pressed this instead of the warning activation switch. Even though it was not possible to determine if this was factual, the RAIB suggested that this small mistake was the reason for the lack of warning. As a result of this, an upgraded Lowe's system known as version 1.5 was introduced, which has the vigilance alarm switch removed as shown and replaced with a movement sensor. This would increase the attention span of the lookout and remove the probability of this mistake happening again. The RAIB made many recommendations in increasing break times for lookouts and ensuring Lowe's is used only if absolutely necessary. Human error and the feeling of getting the job done quickly nearly cost the lives of 9 track workers, being only a whisker away from disaster. Thanks for watching this video and please subscribe for more. Thank you.